It's Tuesday, July 30. In the headlines, Building a Better Jamaica Fund hits $150 million target. In business news, we have market updates and more. Regionally, QSO joins Caricom as associate member. And in sports, Windies coach Coley reflects after 3-0 drubbing. This is the news on PBC Jamaica. I'm Simone Absalom Gale. The Building a Better Jamaica Fund has hit its initial $150 million target 3 weeks after the fund was launched. In line with its commitment, NCB has matched the donations received, bringing the total funds available to $300 million. Prime Minister Andrew Holness launched the fund in support of the NCB Foundation to aid the hardest hit communities, particularly St. Elizabeth, Hanover, Clarendon, and Manchester, focusing on the restoration of homes, small businesses, and the agricultural sector. Chair of NCB Foundation, Thalia Lynn, says, quote, "The generosity and solidarity shown will enable us to make a significant impact on the lives and livelihood of those affected by Hurricane Beryl. Together, we are rebuilding homes and communities and fortifying the strength and spirit of Jamaica. A big thanks to all." End quote. An initial donation of $20 million from NCB activated the fund, and this was bolstered by corporate and individual contributions. Minister of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport Daryl Vaz is urging the Office of Utilities Regulation to hold the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPS, accountable for mishandling restoration efforts following Hurricane Beryl. Denita Rodney reports.
Nearly a month after the passage of Hurricane Beryl, many Jamaicans remain without electricity. This has caused Energy Minister Daryl Vaz and the Cabinet on Monday to summon the Office of Utilities Regulation, OUR, to discuss the slow restoration efforts by JPS. Minister Vaz called JPS's handling of the situation unacceptable.
This morning, on my insistence, Cabinet summoned the OUR team to Cabinet to give an update in relation to the JPS restoration, for which they are the regulatory body and have the autonomy. I made it clear at Cabinet that the timelines that have been missed and the new timelines which end on August 12th are totally unacceptable to me as Minister and by extension the government and the people of Jamaica.
The Energy Minister insists that the OUR must effectively use its authority to hold JPS accountable.
The OUR is who has the authority and the autonomy over JPS, and all that I have been doing for the last 3 weeks is using and exercising my political muscle, because as Minister, I have no authority over the JPS as it is the OUR's responsibility, which is an independent body. I insisted that they should be as strident as I am in making sure they bring the public and the customers up to speed and hold JPS to account.
The minister says he expects a further update from the regulator on Wednesday regarding what he calls JPS's mishandling of the restoration efforts.
We will be getting a presentation at Post-Cabinet on Wednesday by the OUR, which is what the Cabinet has ordered, and we are expecting that they will have meetings with the JPS, continued meetings, and give the public an update from their perspective. In the meantime, I'll continue to defend the customers and the people of Jamaica for what I think is a mishandling of the restoration by JPS. I truly look forward to the OUR coming out and being more aggressive in defense of the customers of the JPS.
Reporting for the news on PBCJ, I am Denita Rodney.
Heart NSTA Trust is offering a solar energy systems installation course. The move is in line with the recent passing of legislation that approves tax credit for acquisition and installation of solar systems at places of residence. Minister of Information, Skills and Digital Transformation, Senator Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon, says it's part of the government's commitment to increase access to green energy.
Any young man or young woman from anywhere in Jamaica can go in and sign up for the Solar Energy Systems Installation course at HEART. So not only is the government clearing the way for Jamaicans to purchase these systems, but we're also ensuring that skilled labor is present to install and maintain them.
In supporting the legislation, Opposition Senator Sophia Fraser-Binns suggested that businesses, particularly small businesses, should also be able to benefit from the program. The amount of credit applied would be restricted to a maximum of 50% of income tax payable by the taxpayer in the assessed year, with the remaining amount being carried forward and applied to the future tax year.
I, for example, operate a micro business, and I can tell you that my light bill, and my office is open from 8 to 5, Mondays to Friday. And my light bill is sometimes discouraging. My electricity bill is more than my telephone bill. Sometimes my electricity bill is more than I pay my lowest paid staff. And so, Minister, I would love for us to consider opening this initiative to small and micro businesses.
You should know that the taxpayers are only qualified once to benefit from the initiative.
The value of the income tax credit will be applied to the acquisition and installation price of the solar photovoltaic system and would be claimable in the year the system is installed. The income tax credit would be used by the taxpayer to offset their total income tax liability, equal to the total value of the credit received. The credit would be non-refundable, that is, if the total value of the credit exceeds the taxpayer's total liability, the taxpayer would not receive a cash refund.
This week, we are learning about dementia in this Living Healthy report.
There is a condition that will impact all of us in our lifetime, whether as patients or as caregivers. And someone gets this condition every 3 seconds. We are talking about dementia today with Dr. Katrin Seher. Welcome, Katrin. What are the symptoms of dementia?
Well, first of all, dementia is an umbrella term for many different diseases that destroy nerve cells and damage the brain. The most common cause of dementia is Alzheimer's disease. Dementia typically leads to memory loss and cognitive decline, such as forgetting words, forgetting where you kept things, easily getting lost, or having problems following a conversation or performing a usual task. Dementia also often co-occurs with mood or behavior changes. And over time, the symptoms get worse, so that someone who's living with dementia may require more and more help from their family and loved ones to perform daily tasks.
So, Katrin, is dementia a normal part of aging?
No, it's not a normal part of aging. In fact, 2 in 3 people in their 90s don't have dementia. It is a medical condition of the brain. And even people in their 40s and 50s can get dementia.
This is a bit concerning because, sometimes I'll come into a room and I forget why I came in there, and I'll often misplace my keys. Are these symptoms I should worry about?
Well, not necessarily. We all do forget things from time to time. You might forget where you kept your keys, but not knowing what a key is for is a completely different story. Or you might forget why you entered a room because you were distracted or you were multitasking. If you are concerned, speak to your healthcare professional. They can run additional tests and investigate further.
So is there a cure for dementia, and what are the treatments available?
Well, currently there is no cure for dementia. There are some medicines that help some people to manage their symptoms for a while, but they don't treat the underlying cause of the dementia. Research is ongoing into a possible cure, but it will be a while before we can deliver those treatments safely and widely. Still, it is important to receive an early diagnosis because that helps you to make sense of the symptoms that you or a family member might be experiencing, and then you can plan for the future. And I do encourage everyone who lives with dementia to lead an as active life as possible, physically, mentally, and socially, because that will help you to remain independent and maintain good quality of life for longer.
So, Katrin, if there is history of dementia in my family, should I be worried that I might get it too? And what can I do to prevent it?
Usually, dementia is not passed down within families, but what you might share with family members are conditions that make you more likely to develop dementia, such as having hypertension or diabetes, or smoking, unhealthy diets, or living in an area with high air pollution. Unlike with genes, there are things that we can do to prevent or reduce our risk of developing dementia. What's good for your heart is good for your brain. So be physically active, eat healthily, treat conditions such as hypertension or diabetes. And the other important message is throughout life, train your brain and protect it from injuries. So for instance, learn a new language, meet friends, or go dancing. All these activities stimulate your brain and help formulate new and stronger and more connections between nerve cells and ultimately help you fight off disease.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that with us, Katrin. Until next time then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stick with science.
Time now for the business report.
Approximately 66 Jamaican farmers covered by local insurer GK Insurance through its GK Weather Protect product are set to receive compensation after the wind speed trigger was met by the passage of Hurricane Beryl earlier this month. The policy issues automatic individual payments when certain thresholds for wind speed and rainfall are met during a weather event. It does not require any assessment of property or damage and pays out to a policyholder's bank account within 14 days if wind speeds or rainfall triggers the policy. Dividend income for investors is on the way from corporate entities. Cargo Handlers Limited has advised that at a meeting of its board of directors to be held on August 12, 2024, an interim dividend payment will be considered. Separate Limited has advised that at a meeting of its board of directors to be held on August 9, 2024, an interim dividend payment will be considered. Carreras Limited has advised that at a meeting of its board of directors to be held on August 12, 2024, an interim dividend payment will be considered. During trading for the period of July 29, 2024, the following companies represent the top 3 most active stocks that investors bought and sold on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. The following companies represent the overall volume leaders. Investment firm Sagicor Select Funds Limited Financial with 2,746,059 units represented 22.71% of the market value in terms of equity sales. Wigton Wind Farm Limited ordinary shares with 2,714,519 units representing 22.45% of the market value in terms of equity sales. Trans Jamaica Highway Limited with 2,407,068 units represented 19.91% of the market value in terms of equity sales. Over on the Twin Island Republic of Trinidad and Tobago Stock Exchange, trading on July 29, 2024, registered a volume of 130,015 shares, crossing the floor of the exchange, valued at 1,506,271 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 52 cents. Massey Holdings Limited was the volume leader with 52,640 shares changing hands for a value of 185,775 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 33 cents, followed by the West Indian Tobacco Company Limited with a volume of 33,855 shares being traded for 288,120 Trinidad and Tobago dollars and 21 cents. Moving from the money moves of investors, executives, and companies on the regional stock markets, we turn to the Forex market. On July 29, 2024, the Bank of Jamaica reported that US $48.1 million was bought from Forex traders, while US $62.7 million was sold to Forex traders. Buying directly from the Bank of Jamaica, foreign currency traders sold the US dollar for $157.26 and bought the US dollar for $155.27. The difference between the buy and sell rate was $1.99, which represents a profit for Forex traders for every US dollar traded. Canadian Forex traders earned a trading profit of $1.85 from transactions with the Bank of Jamaica. The Canadian dollar was sold at $114.56 and bought for $112.71. For traders looking at the British pound, they pocketed a profit of $3.63, selling it for $200.89 and buying it for $197.23. For our credit report tip of the day, we are putting the spotlight on entrepreneurs and how your credit score and credit report will help you to maximize your resources and grow your business. So we have two ideas to leverage your credit score and credit report. We want you to first negotiate better terms with suppliers. Demonstrate your credit worthiness to negotiate better payment terms with suppliers, improving your cash flow management and potentially securing discounts. Secondly, obtain business credit cards. Use business credit cards with rewards program to earn cash back, travel points, and other perks that can be reinvested into your business. And with that, we wrap up today's business report. I'm Denise Williams. Appreciate your company. Stay well informed, stay ahead of the curve. Until our next update, take care.
In regional news, in the wake of the devastating impact of Hurricane Beryl earlier this month, Grenada continues to showcase its resilience. The latest demonstration of this resilience was a hosting of the Caricom Heads of Government meeting mere weeks after Grenada was forced to declare 3 disaster zones in the aftermath of Hurricane Beryl.
A show of proof that Grenada is determined to rise again despite the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl. The Category 4 storm wreaked havoc on Caricom and Petit Martinique, leaving widespread damage and significant challenges in its wake. Significant damage was also recorded in the north of the mainland. However, despite the overwhelming odds, Grenada has demonstrated its unwavering commitment to recovery and regional cooperation through hosting the Caricom Heads of Government Summit, which commenced on Sunday. According to Prime Minister Deacon Mitchell, the event, which brings together leaders from across the Caribbean community, could have easily been postponed for a longer period or even cancelled in light of the recent disaster. Nevertheless, Caricom member states were steadfast in their decision to proceed with the summit as planned.
And sometimes, despite the challenges we face, we are here again 28 days later in beautiful Grenada, in warm Grenada. And we chose to have this gathering to demonstrate that no matter how many times we get punched in the face, no matter how many times we in the Caribbean community get knocked down, we will rise again and again.
The summit's opening ceremony kicked off with the unveiling and renaming of the Caricom roundabout in the south of the island. Prime Minister Mitchell's speech emphasized the nation's resilience, noting that Grenada is determined to rise again despite the setbacks.
So I want to express my profound gratitude to my colleague heads for ensuring that this meeting took place. It could have been quite easy to say, given the gravity of the challenges facing all of us, that we postpone this meeting. That did not happen. But that never crossed the mind of any of the colleagues. And once we agreed that we were hosting the meeting, the support was unanimous. And so I express on behalf of the people and the government of Grenada our profound gratitude for all of you, despite the challenge of the schedule, being here with us this afternoon.
His address also included heartfelt gratitude to the Caricom member states for their unwavering support during this challenging time. Reporting for GBN News, Beverly Telesford.
Curaçao has become an associate member of Caricom. At the 47th Caricom Heads of Government meeting in Grenada, Secretary General Carla Barnett welcomed Curaçao's active engagement. Prime Minister Gilmar Pisas stated that this membership will strengthen the island's bond with member states. Sunil Lala reports.
Curaçao is now an associate member of the Caribbean Community, Caricom. At the 47th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Governments of Caricom on Sunday in Grenada, Caricom Secretary General Carla Barnett said the community looks forward to Curaçao's active engagement as the newest member of the Caricom family. Prime Minister of Curaçao, Gilmar Pisas, said becoming a member of Caricom will strengthen the island's bond with member states.
Furthermore, becoming an associate member of Caricom will strengthen the already close bonds we have with the members and associate members of the Caribbean community, and it will enable us to contribute more effectively to the collective Caribbean costs. In this regard, we bring to Caricom a unique blend of cultural traditions, economic strengths, and social perspective that hopefully will enrich the community as a whole.
The climate crisis took center stage at Monday's Caricom Heads of Government meeting in Grenada, and the Prime Minister of Barbados, Mia Mottley, is once again calling on the international community to do more. Crystal Hoyt filed this report.
Prime Minister Mia Motley has arrived at the 47th regular meeting of the Conference of Heads of Government of Caricom here in Grenada. Previously scheduled for earlier this month, it had to be postponed due to the impact of Hurricane Beryl, one of the first matters on the agenda during today's meetings. Following the first business session, Prime Minister Motley spoke to me frankly, admitting that enough is not being done, specifically by the international community.
Clearly, the experience of Hurricane Beryl and the arrangements institutionally that we have both regionally and internationally in order for us to be able to better prepare ourselves, not only for recovery, but for the building of adaptation and to become more resilient, because I believe we have no more than a decade within which to do that. And the international community has not been stepping up to the plate, either on the loss and damage fund or sufficiently on some of the other issues. We've made progress, for example, with the natural disaster clauses and other things, but we need to be able to ensure that there's a greater pool of concessional funds.
Another major issue on the table is that of food security, which is at risk given the increase in both droughts and storms.
We're all compromised, and therefore we're trying to see how best we can prepare ourselves, both in terms of looking to see what are the opportunities for parametric insurance for our farmers at a regional level, so that when there is loss, that they're capable of claiming. But at the same time, I think we're going to have to invest in far more climate resilient agriculture, which means doing some enclosed agriculture, not just open field, but doing agriculture also for a percentage of what we produce within the context of greenhouses and other more secure facilities. That's going to take more planning, more financing, but I think it's going to have to be part and parcel of the equation as we go forward.
As it relates to the goal of reducing the region's food import bill by 25% by 2025, Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, says given the devastation caused by Hurricane Beryl, it's simply not feasible.
It has to move. Some countries would be still on target because they haven't been impacted yet. But this is always going to be a moving target. 2025 is an aspirational date, clearly. Some progress was being made before, and now we have had a setback.
As the heads of government continue to meet tomorrow, a number of other issues, including shipping, transport, and the conflict in Haiti, will be discussed. Reporting from St. George's, Grenada, Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
In sports, West Indies Test head coach Andre Coley said the team showed fighting spirit despite their failure to win any match in the 3-match series in England. According to Coley, there were positives they could look to build on as they host South Africa in 2 tests from August 7. The first test will be in Trinidad and Tobago, while the second test will be in Guyana on August 15.
There's history around the series, the fact that we had the trophy and now pretty much turned it over. With a young emerging side, there would have been a lot said about this being a walkover. Obviously, we should have competed better, but we did show a lot of fight during the series. From a batting standpoint, I was very pleased with our scoring rate, tempo, especially in the second test match and to a lesser extent in this one. The fact that a young Hodge was able to score 100 following up what he did in Australia. Joshua De Silva appeared to have been coming to some kind of form, and Jaden was able to extend his run coming back from injury, having played some county cricket, showed really good form. Shamar Joseph, obviously a new kid on the block, still learning, so it was good to actually watch him almost take the learning from the conditions here, adjusting his lengths and so on. So those were significant positives that we can take from the series as we approach the South Africa series at home. Those results are important. A lot of times we focus on the outcomes, and obviously that's important. The focus for us going forward, and always has been on the process. You're not going to get performances every day, but one thing you can actually have some control over is going through your processes every single day and give yourself the best chance of performance. So that is really what we're going to be focusing on. And then I'd mentioned a couple of positives that we could take away. We will actually do a bit of deep dive into that to see what processes and just confirm the processes that went into achieving those and looking to replicate that. I was very happy with our intent in how we look to score as opposed to just occupying the crease. Obviously, a balance needs to be struck. But yeah, just that ability to negotiate the ball around a good length and having that ability to get into it.
And that's it for the news on PBCJ. You can follow us on our social media platforms at PBCJamaica. And do remember, we are the People's Station.